Hello guys, welcome to your third step to become Git and GitHub done. So in our last tutorial, we dealt with Git configuration, and in this tutorial we are going to look at how we can add comments and then push our files from our local repository to our GitHub repository. Alright, so as you can see here, before we can push our files from our local repository or from our local machine to the GitHub repository, it has to go through a series of steps before we can do that. So first of all, we have to get our files, the files we want to push to our GitHub repository on our local machine. Then we will apply git add just to add them to the staging area. Now when it gets to the staging area, we have to give comments on each of the files before we can now push them onto our GitHub repository. Mind you, we can't omit any of the steps. Now let's start. Alright, so on my desktop I'll create a folder. Now name it Git. Right, so let's open the folder. See, currently we are not having anything in the folder, right? So let's open our Git bash terminal and let's try to navigate to the repository, right? So now we are currently in this folder, it's empty, right? So let's try and type git status to check the status of the folder. It's saying not a git repository, so it means currently this folder is not a git repository. Do you get me? And before we can push any files inside this folder to our GitHub repository, it means we have to make this folder a git repository before, right? So before we start, let's type git init and see what happens. It says initialized empty git repository, right? So we've initialized this repository and it's now at our master branch. We will talk about branch later, but now just know that we are on our master branch. So let's close it and open it again. You see, now you can see some file here. It's a hidden file, but yet we can see it here, right? And this means our file, which is the git file, is now having a git repository, right? Let's try and delete it and see what happens. Let's close this one and open it again. So cd spacebar, drag and drop and press enter. You see, we are not seeing the master branch again. Let's type git status and check the status of the file, the folder, sorry. It says not a git repository, but before that we initialize our git, right? But then when we deleted the file in here, now it's telling us that our repository is not initialized, right? So now let's type in git init and press enter. You see, now it's back. Let's try and then think refresh will work. Refresh. See, when you refresh, it is now appearing, so it means now you can continue adding files to this folder, right? So first of all, I want us to create some files in here. So I would like to open my VS Code here by typing code spacebar dot and press enter. Alright, so once it opens, I want us to create some files in here. I want us to create an index.html file. I know probably most of you might know something about HTML. If you don't worry, I have a tutorials on them. Check it out. We are starting from basics. General will take you through how you can become perfect in HTML. So I want us to generate this template, and here I want us to just type in h1. If you don't know h1 what h1 is, don't worry, check out on the HTML tutorials for beginners and you will understand whatever I'm doing here. So I want us to just type in hello, one done, and save it. Right now I want us to take a look at it. You see, immediately I saved it, now it's turning green, right? So it means we are working on a GitHub repository, and this repository has not been tracked, so it's untracked. So if you hover the mouse on it, you get a message, the directory dot untracked. So it means you've not yet added it to the staging area. So now I want us to add another file. This one I want it to be index.css, and I want to just add a background color of any color, just to right. This one too is untracked. So now let's go to our terminal. Let me open it big so that you can see what's going on here. So I want to just type in git status. The git status helps us to know the status of the folder we are in right now. So it says nothing comment yet, and we are on our master branch. Do you get me? Untracked files, HTML, index.css, index.html. They are the two files we've added to this folder, git folder, right? Let me refresh so that you know what's going on here. There are two folders we've added here, but then we've not yet added them to the git repository. Do you get me? So that's why it says it's on track files. Let's try and add index.css to our file and see what happens. So git add, and this is how we add files. So git add and then index.css, and let's press enter. So now let's type git status. Oh, let me squeeze it small. It's like, all right, so this fine. Oh, let me open it a little bit. Okay, let's type in git status and press enter. So it says changes to be committed, new file. That is the index.css. So now we've added it to our git file, which is here. We've added the index.css, but then we have still not added index.html. That's why it's still here, and you can testify it by the color, which is red, and this one is green, right? So it says it is ready for commenting because it says changes to be commented. As you can see here, once you add it to the staging area, the next thing is you have to comment on it, right? And now you can push it to your GitHub repository.